I remember the day everything started to spiral, like it happened this morning. The first sign that my marriage was doomed came from an almost casual comment my wife, Maya, made in our apartment living room. She was 27, I was 30, and we'd been married 4 years. I still wanted to believe we had a solid foundation. Me with my jewelry business, run with my brothers, and her with her little café. The cracks in our union showed themselves in a single sentence. "There's a new guy who comes to the café," she said, "and he's super interesting." I heard a certain thrill in her voice, a hush of excitement she used only when talking about romance novels. His name was Luka. He was from Serbia, tall, blonde, and apparently unbelievably charming. It stabbed at my sense of security, but I tried to brush it off as harmless. "Interesting, huh?" I said, leaning back on the couch. "You see so many people at that place. What makes him stand out?" Maya's eyes brightened. "He's like a character from one of those books I read. Brooding, mysterious, but sweet. He even reads Western novels. He told me he's looking for a better life in Riverdale," and she blushed. I tried to keep my face neutral, but a knot formed in my stomach. "That's nice. Always good to have a regular customer, I guess." The conversation moved on, but I remained uneasy. Over the next few days, Maya's musings about Luka became constant. She'd come home glowing, rattle off tidbits about his day, his thoughts on work, his love of Tolstoy or Tolkien. Part of me felt silly being jealous. Maya was allowed friends. I was practical, maybe controlling. She used to say I didn't praise her enough. I wasn't the best husband, but I wasn't ready for what came next. 3 weeks after she first mentioned Luka, I dropped by her cafe unannounced. It was late afternoon. The place was full of college kids and people on laptops. I looked around and saw Maya behind the counter in her apron, all smiles. I had a bouquet of tulips from the market. Just as I was about to call her name, the door swung, and a man with broad shoulders and neat blonde hair walked in. My skin tingled with that rivalry feeling when another man enters. He glanced at me, then focused on Maya. His eyes lit up. "Maya," he said with his accent, "you forgot your phone in the back room." He held up her phone. She smiled wide. "Oh my God, thank you, Luka. I owe you. You're a lifesaver." The warmth in her voice hit me. I stepped up, cleared my throat. He said, "Pleasure to meet you. Your wife is very nice. She makes the best cappuccino in all of Riverdale." I forced a laugh and shook his hand, but his nonchalant look felt off, like he was studying me, deciding if I was competition. Maya reached across the counter and touched my arm. I was startled. She gave me a quick peck on the cheek and almost dismissed me. That evening while we cooked, I asked about Luka. She shrugged, calling him a friend. When I admitted I felt uneasy. She snapped, "Don't be ridiculous. I can have friends," she said. "If anyone likes reading as much as I do, it's fine." I didn't press, but a sense remained. Less than a week later, I dropped in again. It was late. She came in, flushed from the night air, hair a little messy. "You're late," I said. She said the cafe had been busy and she'd been showing Luka around. He's still new, so we grabbed a slice. "You went out with him alone," I said. "Don't start," she said. "I already know where your mind is going and you're wrong. He might be gay for all we know. He never said he was into women." I let out a harsh breath. The idea that he was gay sounded convenient. It felt like a lie to keep me off her trail. I got angry. "You could have messaged," I said. She said, "I never check in when you work late, and I did one spontaneous thing, and you act like I'm cheating." I tried to explain I wasn't controlling her hobbies, but I was suspicious. She called me a bully. I admitted I was jealous. She said I wasn't supportive, that I never said kind things. I felt guilty, but I needed the truth. She said he was just a kind soul who liked books and complimented her cafe. I said, "Fine. Stop seeing him outside the cafe. If he comes in for coffee, that's one thing. No more pizza outings, museum trips, or late-night walks alone. She burst into tears and called me a dictator, but finally said fine. I stopped pushing. She promised. Days passed. She seemed colder but promised no more private outings. Then one day, I dropped off a promo flyer and saw her and Luca walking arm in arm outside, laughing like a couple. My heart seized. I moved so they wouldn't see me. Maya's face froze when she saw me. She slipped her arm from his. He said, forcing a smile. I grabbed her arm. Come on, we're going home. She tried to protest. I said no. I dragged her to the car, in front of her customers. It felt like humiliation. At home, I confronted her. You promised, I said. She said she wasn't lying, that he flirted, but was probably gay. I said that was a convenient excuse. She shouted that I couldn't control who she saw. I said, stop, or we'll have bigger problems. She agreed, hollowly. Fine, I won't see him again outside the café. I felt like a dictator, but I thought it was necessary. A few days later, I caught them sitting close at a table. As soon as Maya saw me, she jumped up, flustered, claiming they were discussing a reading club. Luca gave me a thin smile. That night, I said we need to talk. She got defiant. I accused her of getting too close. She said I didn't appreciate her interests and called me a bully. I said, stop seeing him alone. She said, stop trying to tell her who to be friends with. She cried but said okay. I thought it was over. In the following days, I spotted them walking arm in arm again. I snapped. I walked into the cafe, grabbed her arm, dragged her out. I told Luca to get away or he'd regret it. He stepped back. Maya threw her apron aside and said, fine, humiliate me in front of my customers. I dragged her. The drive home was silent. She called me controlling. I said I'd had enough. She said she needed to escape. She said she didn't see it as cheating, that I had pushed her away by not reading with her or giving her enough praise. She shouted that I never gave her affection. I felt guilty momentarily, then anger again. I told her it's stop or we're done. She said we're already done. She stormed to the bedroom and slammed the door. I sat on the couch and pondered what to do. She kept saying she'd avoid Luca. She said he'd come to the cafe, but only for coffee. I couldn't trust her. Every time her phone pinged, she rushed away and turned the screen. One night, I snuck her phone from under her pillow. I opened the messages. I found chat logs with Luca that proved everything. They were sly. They said, I miss you, baby. Maya wrote he's losing his mind. They talked about stolen kisses and secret trysts after closing. They mocked me for being jealous. They wrote about hooking up in the back office. I felt sick. I exported the chat, emailed it to myself, and took screenshots of photos of them hugging at landmarks. I wiped the evidence from her phone and slipped it back. I lay awake with rage. She had used the "he might be gay" excuse to keep me off. I felt like a fool. The next morning I confronted her. I said I knew everything. She tried to say I had no right to snoop. She said I pushed her away. I called her out. She cried and said I never gave her what she needed. I said I didn't deserve to be lied to. She admitted it, said maybe I'd pushed her. She called me a control freak, but also said I didn't care what she loved. I lost it. I told her to get out, and I contacted a divorce lawyer that same day. She left in a storm of tears. In the days after I collected every piece of evidence, my lawyer said the messages were bulletproof. I also found out Luca ran a YouTube channel where he boasted about seducing wives. He had thousands of subscribers, and even an exclusive site with blurred videos. I watched him brag and smirk. He had a video entitled, "How to Capture a Married Woman." He referred to a cafe owner bored with her controlling husband. I felt sick that he was profiting off my wife's betrayal. My lawyer told me to stay calm and finalize the divorce. I tried, but I wanted Luca punished. I fantasized about tearing his smug grin off. After the divorce was finalized, I waited outside the café in a borrowed SUV. I had 2 men who owed me favors. When Luca came out filming himself, I stepped out and called his name. He freezed. It was me. My friends flanked him, masked. He struggled and cursed in his language. I punched him. My friends pinned him and I smashed his phone on the pavement. I told him if I saw one more video of Maya on his channel, I would take him to court and more. He promised to leave, and I walked away. Weeks passed. Maya called me sometimes. I ignored most calls. Then one morning she texted that she was pregnant. I stood there looking at my phone. She tried to claim the baby was mine because we'd been intimate recently. I knew she'd been with Luca, so I didn't trust it. We talked once at the cafe. She said she thought the baby was mine. I said we'll do a DNA test after the birth, and until then, I'd be cautious. She said I was cruel. I walked out. Divorce papers were served at her cafe. The case was simple. The messages and photos were clear. I kept the house, avoided paying alimony, and kept my share in the family jewelry business. She got the cafe and the old car I had given her. The judge finalized the divorce. Her father confronted me and told me I had a duty to the baby. I told him I would not sign anything until DNA proved the child was mine. The father said I was a monster for breaking his daughter's heart. I stood my ground. Maya gave birth to a boy. We waited for the DNA test. When it came back, the result was 0%. I laughed bitterly. I had thought the baby might be mine, but it was not. It belonged to Luca or someone else she never admitted. I texted Maya a screenshot of the results and wrote, "We're finished. Don't contact me again." I walked away. I felt no sorrow. I felt relief. I thought of the years wasted on trying to be heard by someone who lied and sneaked. I had proof, I had the house, and I had the truth. I closed that chapter.